Okay, so now we've gone through in this. We've gone through a lot of preparation steps, right? But eventually, we're going to have an incident take place, right? That's inevitable, probably, right? But once an incident takes place, we're going to go kind of through the steps of kind of identifying what the target is, right? Is it a victim or is it a suspect system? We're going to try to figure out more information out about the system itself, right? Is it a single host, or is it something that's going to have multiple hosts on it, like a cloud-based environment? What type of is it a server that we need to worry about? Is there services that are running on this that we need to maintain and keep up? Are we dealing with any RAID configurations? What's the operating system? What applications are running? Is it business critical for the standpoint of like can we bring it down if we needed to? Like, is bringing it down an option? And then are multiple users have access to and things like that. You're also going to need to be aware of the timeline for execution, and you're going to have to make adjustments to your acquisition tool set, right, based on the information that you're getting. So then based on the next step will be kind of asking some of the questions, right? So in order to kind of get that information that we were just talking about, some of the kind of system information, we'll need to ask someone to kind of give us the information if they can, right? In a victim organization, this is going to be much easier, right? If you're doing something internally, it's going to be much easier because you can just ask somebody, and hopefully they will give you answers, and hopefully they will be right. And they should be able to tell you kind of like, who administers the system, what operating system is running, what services, so on and so, where is it located, things like that. When you're dealing with the suspect system, which we'll talk more about in the third day, these questions get a lot more difficult to answer. Because who do you ask? Usually the suspect isn't willing to hand over that information to you, so it can make the response a little bit more difficult. But we'll talk about some of the approaches you can take in that regard. So in dealing with the victim organization, some of the questions may be difficult for some people to answer. You're going to try to find the people who can answer the questions as best as possible. You want to identify someone that's a trusted member of the IT staff. That is important, right? You need to kind of be aware that if it's something that you're doing internally, that perhaps the person that you're asking questions to may be involved, right? So you need to kind of take the correct approach with that. But they're going to be able to tell you information about where a system is located, who administers that system and things like that. In larger organizations, it may be difficult for one person to answer those questions, but they may be able to put you in touch with the person who can, right? You also, be aware that there may be, especially if we're dealing with like larger companies, that there may be in-house forensic or e-discovery groups that may be able to provide you some information or kind of historical information that's available. And one thing that I want to make clear is that, I hate to say this, right, because some of you have said that your system administrators have done that in the past. Just because a system administrator tells you this is how things are doesn't necessarily mean that's how they are, right? That has been my experience in the past, right? I have shown up on site a bunch of times and found out that what they told me was the case was not the case at all, right? And that may be because they didn't know and they were just trying to answer your questions and trying to be helpful, or it may be because they didn't want to give away information that would make them look bad. It could be a lot of reasons, right? But one thing to kind of keep in mind is to take the information with a grain of salt, right? Is that, use it as long as you can validate it, I guess.